guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, but today I'm going to be making pepper prawns with crabs. So I'm going to show you guys how I clean my prawns. So you take that red string off and you snap the head a bit like so, and you take that little poo bit out, that little string, you know what I mean, so this is how I clean my prawns. You know that you have to make sure that you clean your prawns before you cook them. So I'm going to show you again how I clean my prawns. So you take that red little string bit off, you snap it off, throw it away, snap the head of the prawn, and then you squeeze that bit out. Sorry guys, I didn't get to show you when I squeeze it out. And also, clean that bit out again. Hopefully you can see clearly how I clean my prawns, and you will repeat the procedure throughout. So guys, I'm gonna wash my prawns. That's my prawns, wash, clean and fresh, ready to season and cook. And guys, I'm gonna show you now how I do my crab. So my crab is clean. I'm just going to snap it into two so it can cook quicker. So now I'm showing you how I cut my crab. I'm using a cooking scissors, and there you go, in two pieces. I am going to use a metal spoon to crack the shells so that when I season it, it can marinate very nicely. So I'm using a metal spoon to crack the shells. That was the option I had that day. You can use whatever you have in your kitchen, but this worked well for me, using my metal spoon to crack the shells so that it's easier to season, and also when you're eating it, it's going to be much easier to eat. So that's how I crack my shell, guys. And now I'm snapping off the crab legs so that when I cook it, it can take all the seasoning and also easier to eat. So there you go, guys, my crab all done. So I'm gonna show you guys now how I do my seasoning. I've got 2 Scotch bonnet peppers, some garlic cloves, 2 spring onion, and some thyme. I believe I have about 8 or 9 garlic cloves, and I'm blending it with half a cup of water. So make sure you shake that blender if it's not blending. So my fresh seasoning is getting blended to put in my prawns and my crab. So guys, I love to use my fresh seasoning, also a healthy option as well. And now I'm gonna show you guys how I throw my fresh seasoning on my prawns and crab. Just throw it all in. Make sure you get all that fresh blended season out on your prawns and crab. And also, if there's a little bit leaving the blender, you can use a spoon to scoop that out and get all that seasoning in. Look how lovely that looks. It already looks so delicious, and it hasn't cooked yet. So guys, as you know, I'm going to use some other seasoning as well on my prawns and crab. I'm going to use some all-purpose seasoning, nothing too much, because you have to cut down in seasoning that you use. So I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of all-purpose seasoning now. And also I'm going to add a different all-purpose seasoning. It's the same all-purpose, it's just a different brand, so it has a different color. So guys, it's not a different seasoning I'm using, it's still all-purpose seasoning. So now I'm gonna put the all-purpose seasoning, that is 1 more tablespoon, so that is 3 tablespoons of all-purpose seasoning. You don't have to use a different brand, you can use the same all-purpose seasoning. That's just me, I just use different brands when I'm cooking. And also I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. You just need a teaspoon of salt, not too much salt. we need to cut down on how much salt we use and cook. So yeah, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna put some chili flakes in, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes, and also I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of dry parsley. So guys, that's all I'm adding to my prawns and crab. So I finished adding, I'm gonna blend it all in. So you do know that you shouldn't be using your hand in this because this is prawns and it can stick you with the sharp pricks. So do go ahead, use a spoon, get your seasoning in on your prawns and crab. Look how lovely that looks. And I'm gonna use 1 more tablespoon of all-purpose seasoning because I think it needs a little bit more seasoning, guys. So I'm adding another tablespoon of all-purpose seasoning to my prawns and crab. So do put that on it, get that seasoning in, use your spoon and blend it all in. Keep blending it in, guys. And when you finish blending your seasoning into your prawns and crab, you will leave it to marinate for 1.5 hours. That's what I did. I leave mine to marinate for 1.5 hours. Then I start cooking it. You can also do this overnight. You don't have to do it on the same day, but I did it on the same day. I decided I wanted to eat some prawns and I went out and buy it, and there you go, voila, all done seasoning. Leave it for 1.5 hours and that's it. I'm gonna show you guys now how I cook my prawns. So in my pan I've got 1 tablespoon of olive oil and half of onion. So as you can see, I diced my onions very tiny so that it can saute quickly. I don't want to use too much onions to overpower what I'm cooking. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put my prawns and my crabs in. So just throw everything in your saucepan, guys. Get all that marinated fresh seasoning out in your pan. Just throw it in there like so, like I'm doing. Just get it all in. Just look at the colors. Look how tasty and lovely that looks. So guys, now as you can see, I finished putting in my prawns. You're just gonna give it a good stir. Give it a good stir. I might be doing this so gentle because I didn't want to break my prawns or anything, so I was doing it very gentle, but you give it a good stir. Give it a stir. So keep checking on your prawns when you're cooking it. Just don't leave it like that. So I'm gonna cover my prawns for 10 minutes and I'm gonna show you guys after 10 minutes how my prawns look. So now that's the prawns, 10 minutes on. Look at the colors. Look how that looks. Look at the sauce, the fresh seasoning. Guys, do use your fresh seasoning blended when you're cooking whatever it is, chicken, any meat, whatever, fish. Just blend your seasoning and use it. It is so much better than using a lot of artificial seasoning. It really brings out the flavor in your food. So guys, give your prawns and crab a good stir. Just give it a good stir. Keep checking on it. Make sure that it's not all dried out and that enough sauce is in the pan, because you're not going to add a lot to it. So now I'm going to put some sweet chili sauce and just a little bit of pepper sauce with some water. I'm going to add to my prawns to give it that flavor, you know, to enhance the fresh seasoning and everything. Just give it that awesome nice flavor. It's really gonna bring out the flavors in the prawn and the crab. So guys, as you can see, I added about half cup of water with 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce and just half a spoon of pepper seasoning, and give it a good stir. So give it a good stir, stir it, and I'm gonna add it to my prawns and crab. I'm gonna just add it in. Look how delicious that looks. When you add your sweet chili sauce, just give it a good stir. Make sure it gets all over the prawns, all over the crab. Just give it a good stir. Just give it a stir, give it a stir. And there you go, guys. Look how tasty and delicious that looks. So make sure you keep checking any prawns. As I said, just don't leave it and go and forget that you're doing it. Give it a stir, give it a check. And guys, as you can see how lovely that looks, I'm gonna add a little bit of butter to it also to give it that nice and rich texture. So I'm adding 1 tablespoon of butter. You can use whatever butter you have in your house, whatever you please. As long as it's butter, you can add it to your sauce. And you give it a good stir. Keep stirring it and leave it there for about, I would say roughly about 15 minutes. Just cover it. I did leave mine after I finished stirring it. I leave it for about 15 minutes to steam down a bit more. Look how lovely that looks, guys. And this is my prawns and crabs after 15 minutes of covering it and let it simmer down for a little bit. So that's how it looks, guys. So do make your prawns stay about 15 minutes after adding the butter, and this is how it looks. Look how beautiful that looks. Look how tasty that looks. It's reducing and it is so lovely. That's it, guys. After reducing for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, that's how my prawns look. Thanks for watching my YouTube video. Do try this out, like and subscribe. See you soon, guys.